So the New York Times recently posted an article on BookTok. So first things first, let's clarify. One, BookTok is to TikTok as BookTube is to YouTube. That is a small community on a social media platform dedicated to the discussion around books, clearly. Two, I am not downloading TikTok. Now, don't get me wrong. The stuff that I see, the cream of the crop, the best of the best that finally makes its way over into Reddit is fantastic. I mean, this stuff is hilarious. The editing skills of some of these kids is frankly next level. And they've managed to perfect the art of the short story format, this tight time frame, and working within it to be completely original. It is almost poetic. The best stuff on TikTok is hilarious, slightly off kilter, and wholly original. That being said, I am not frickin' downloading it. I do not need another social media time suck. I mean, I've pretty well absented myself from Facebook. I dabble a little bit in Twitter. I mostly stick with Instagram and Reddit, and mostly at an arm's length, and I'd like to keep it that way. I worry about this new social media platform and how it would just get into my head, and suddenly it would be this massive amount of time spent doom scrolling on the TikTok now. So, knowing that I'm never going to download it, I got my wife to download it, which I know is frankly like pushing her into a minefield and slowly following along in her footsteps. And upon opening it, we lost completely an hour and a half just watching cat talk, which is as hilarious and as awesome as you would suspect. And we did make a little foray into BookTok, but it didn't last long. And don't get me wrong, I'm a middle-aged, over-the-hill online dad, but I found BookTok to be an over-the-top, emo cringe fest backed by the same 5 songs, talking about the same white YA fantasy I thought we'd given up on 5 years ago. I mean, Divergent, The Hunger Games, Twilight, and Potter? I thought Gen Z had already established that your Hogwarts house is not a personality trait.
Come sit with us millennials. Unless you're a Gryffindor, we're all Hufflepuffs. No, I'd rather die.
And I can't believe I have to go on to another platform to hear again about Sarah J. Maas. So it was an easy out, hard no, backed away. Kind of relieved, if I'm being honest. I do not need to get involved as far as TikTok goes. But maybe I missed the larger picture. BookTok is moving units. Take 2012's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Back in August, the publisher noticed this inexplicable yet massive sales spike, something that would eventually reach about 10,000 sales a week, enough to land it on the New York Times bestseller list for paperback fiction. It was selling 9 times the rate of what it was enjoying back in 2012 when it won the Orange Prize for Women's Fiction. And the culprit? BookTokers crying on BookTok. There are even think pieces written about it. Literary Hub had a piece how teens crying on BookTok were bypassing their mostly young viewers' rational filters and going straight to the amygdala. It was bypassing emotion and going to instinct, to the reptilian brain. I mean, we know how emotions drive clicks. BookTok was taking this a step farther and driving sales in a way that Facebook and Twitter never could. The hashtag Song of Achilles on BookTok has over 19 million views, and the hashtag BookTok enjoys about 4.4 billion views on TikTok. Shannon DeVito, director of books at Barnes & Nobles, has taken notice, and she just can't believe the crazy amount of sales driven by BookTok. We're talking tens of thousands of books a month. This is a type of thing she's never seen with any other social media platform before. And the publishers are taking notice as well. Random House is working with about 100 different TikTokers, and they're charging anywhere between a couple hundred to a few thousand a post. And that sparked a bit of a tweet storm on the weekend after the piece went public, with mostly bookish bloggers decrying the massive amounts of efforts that they'd put in for little to no compensation, maybe an advanced reader copy at best, and that publishing was simply chasing clout with a sexy new social media platform. True, but you really can't argue with the type of numbers BookTok is posting. So all of this to say that it's probably inevitable we're going to see the equivalent on BookTube. Maybe not exactly books that make me cry, copy my work, but change it up a little bit so it doesn't seem like it's a straight copy. Like maybe books that drove me absolutely bonkers. Actually, Rick McDonald did a perfect example of that recently with his tequila-filled tirade, an exorcism against Lucy Ellmann's Ducks Newburyport. To him, this was a teeth-gnashing, head-smashing, hate type of book, which, frankly, I absolutely loved. But It's not going to drive sales, but it's certainly great content to watch. Nothing elicits views better than emotion or drama. Maybe I could subtweet something about how I hate how certain people drink tequila like a 12-year-old who'd recently seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure and is equally mature with their apprehension of adult contemporary fiction. And then Rick could snap back with a tweet like, long-haired hippies should stick to their lane and go back to reading large print editions of age-appropriate books from Clancy Baldacci and Patterson. #DuckSuck. And then we could set our respective Twitter mobs on each other to make ad hominem attacks and introduce wild conjecture and hopefully get a mention in Jess Owen's book community. At the very least, you can start expecting a bunch of videos like 5 books that absolutely destroyed me or some variant of the over-the-top emo book tag. And great, maybe that'll elicit some views, but not really interesting. What gets interesting is if you can move units. Publishing would take notice if you could garner some sort of a sales blip like the Song of Achilles. You know, a backlist book, mostly forgotten, not part of any larger marketing push like, say, 2017's Goodbye Vitamin by Rachel Khong. Now, I'm not going to appeal to your emotional centers here. I'm not going to start crying in an attempt to bypass your rational filters and go straight for your reptilian brain. I will just tell you, it's a great read, perfect for this moment. Now go out and pick it up. And you may argue, but you haven't told me anything about the book. You haven't provided an abstract or told me about the protagonist's journey. No, I haven't. I just want you to go and pick it up. I am doing the online equivalent of standing in a busy intersection, looking up in the sky, hoping that others will follow along as well. Pick it up. Tweet about it. Post a picture. Add the hashtag BookTube made me buy it. If you're a booktuber, get your subscribers to pick it up. I am just interested to see if BookTube has any sway outside of YA. I mean, can BookTube move units in literary fiction, or is that simply the purview of Reese and Oprah? I mean, imagine if BookTube was able to get a book on the New York Times bestseller paperback fiction list. Publishing would have to take notice, and things could get really interesting. Just saying, goodbye vitamin. Anyway, that's it from this week. It feels good to be back in front of the camera. It's nicer outside. The sun has been shining. Parents have gotten a vaccine. And yeah, I'm feeling a little bit coming out of the winter doldrums and a little bit more optimistic for spring. Hopefully that's the case for you as well, and you're getting some good reading in. I hope things are getting better wherever it is that you are and that there is cause for optimism. Anyway, that's it for me this week. So have a great week of reading, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I hear someone else familiar making me nervous.